Hello and welcome to the American Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Media Day. I'm Bob Picozzi, and today we are coming your way from the Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut. This will be the site of the first American Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Championship, March 7th through the 10th. Today we're going to tell you all about the inaugural year of the American. We'll preview the season. We will also release the preseason conference poll, the preseason Player of the Year, Freshman of the Year, and the preseason all-conference team. And we will also chat with the coaches and players from all 10 conference members. And speaking of those 10 members, the American is comprised of 5 schools who played last season in the Big East: Cincinnati, Connecticut, Louisville, Rutgers, and USF, the University of South Florida. 4 schools who come from Conference USA: Houston, Memphis, SMU, and UCF, that's the University of Central Florida, and 1 school who comes from the Atlantic 10, Temple. And looking ahead, the American will welcome 3 new members in the 2014-15 academic year, all 3 coming from Conference USA, East Carolina, Tulane, and Tulsa. Now, the American not only features UConn, the defending national champion, but also Louisville, the school which lost to UConn in the national championship game last April. USF also played in the NCAA tournament last March, and Memphis and SMU played in the WNIT. There are 2 coaches in the conference who are members of the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame: UConn's Geno Auriemma and Rutgers' C. Vivian Stringer. The Americans' preseason poll was announced today. UConn is number 1, receiving 9 of 10 first-place votes. Louisville is number 2, receiving the remaining first-place vote. Then USF is 3rd, Rutgers is 4th, SMU 5th, Memphis 6th, Cincinnati 7th, UCF 8th. Preseason Player of the Year: Rutgers guard Tyler Scaife is the preseason Freshman of the Year. And the preseason all-conference team looks like this: 3 players from Connecticut: Brianna Stewart, senior center Stefanie Dolson, and junior forward Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis. 3 players from Louisville: senior guards Shoni Schimmel and Antonita Slaughter, and junior forward Sarah Hammond. UCF sophomore guard Brianna Jackson, Cincinnati senior guard Daisha Hollins, SMU senior guard Keena Mays, and USF senior guard Inka Orakova. And 2 other players have been named preseason all-conference honorable mention: UConn senior guard Bria Hartley and Rutgers junior wing Benaja Laney. The UConn Huskies are number 1 in the America's preseason poll, receiving 9 of 10 first-place votes. Coaches are not allowed to vote for their own team, by the way. The Huskies won 35-4 last season, finished in 2nd place in the Big East at 14-2, lost to Notre Dame in the finals of the Big East Championship, but then defeated Idaho, Vanderbilt, Maryland, Kentucky, Notre Dame in the Final 4 in the semifinals, and beat Louisville to win their 8th national championship, and that tied Tennessee for the most NCAA women's titles. And UConn is loaded. Returning sophomore forward Brianna Stewart, who was named today the conference's preseason Player of the Year. 2 preseason All-American Athletic Conference selections in senior center Stefanie Dolson and junior wing Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis, and preseason honorable mention All-AAC guard Bria Hartley. And all 4 of those players are on the preseason watch list for the Wade Trophy. And there's only 1 newcomer for the Huskies. She is 5'8" guard Sania Chong, and she was named Parade Magazine's Player of the Year last season. This is Naismith Basketball Hall of Famer Geno Auriemma's 29th year as the head coach at UConn. He's won 839 games, 8 national championships, 8 Big East tournament titles, and an Olympic gold medal. Well, we're joined by 2 familiar faces. To my left, Louisville coach Jeff Walz, and to my right is UConn coach Geno Auriemma. First of all, did you win any money since you got here today?
No, I actually I don't know the last time I played blackjack here. It's been a long, long time, and I don't trust my luck in the off season. I want to try to save it all for during the season.
And Jeff is, I don't know if you know this, there are a lot of restaurants in this facility, and he owns one of them. Did you patronize it?
No, I went and had the opportunity to see his cafe or his court,
Right.
Geno's court, and
Right.
I just can't believe he didn't send us all a voucher up for a free hot dog and soda as we're here. But it never came in the mail.
Your short arms?
Yeah, this is the big time now. This isn't, this isn't the South, and this is last year in in the Big East, well, actually, I should say in the American now, all the Big East schools that are leaving, they're the last ones to leave, them and Rutgers. And I told him earlier, the contract that he signed at the end of the year, I know that cost Pitino a lot of money because he had to give up some of his for Jeff.
Now, I'm looking at how you're dressed and how one of you two didn't get right memo of it.
Well, it's all who looks good and what.
Yeah,
he has to try extremely hard to look good. It's not too hard for me. So he's got to dress to the nines.
Yep.
Now,
Yep.
last time you saw this guy, at least on the court, it was in the national championship game, and that really was a proud moment for the conference and an unbelievable weekend for the University of Louisville, by the way, because their men's team was winning the national championship. Can you talk a little bit about what it's like, and it's happened to you twice now, that you meet a conference opponent in the national championship game?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody would have said, 10 years ago that, we would be playing in the NCAA championship game, I would have said, yeah, I can understand that because that's kind of where our program is and has been the last 10 years. If you told me we were going to play against Louisville both times, I would have said, I don't know that anyone expected that. I don't know that anyone thought when Jeff got the job at Louisville that in that short a period of time, really, and it hasn't been a long period of time, that not only would they be in one national championship game, but in two. I would say the last 10 years, I don't think anybody's done a better job anywhere in the country of coaching their team and building their program. And I'm going to be sorry to see them go, for a lot of reasons, but I think the competitive rivalry that was starting to build over the last couple of years was something that was going to become pretty special, and I kind of hate to see that go.
It was not a bad winter and fall and early spring for the University of Louisville. The football team shared the Big East Championship, went on and won in the Sugar Bowl. And on that same magical weekend, you guys almost pulled off something that the UConn did in 2004 when both the men and the women won the championship in the same year. The Louisville men won it all, and you guys got to the finals and lost to the team coached by the man next to me. What was it like to be on the Louisville campus last March and April to go through that?
Well, it was really exciting. You sit there and just look at all the sports and what we've been able to accomplish. We compete with each other. Our football team started it with their great run that they made. Then to go on and play in the BCS game and perform as well as they did against Florida. And then you've got our men's team, our baseball team, our softball program. Everybody, we're all out there supporting each other, and it's just it's fun to have as many programs be as successful as we have.
Last year, your team was not expected to win it all because Baylor had Brittany Griner, and it looked like no one was ever going to beat them. And of course, this man next to me, his team knocked them off in the Sweet 16. This year, it's different, and I think everybody expects your team to win the national championship based on the fact that you did it last year and who you have coming back. Is it, and you've been in this situation before, but is it NCAA title or bust at UConn this year?
I mean, the world that we live in up here, it's like that every year. Some years it's more realistic than others, though. That's the only part that I hold on to. I'm the first one to say, hey, I think we have the best team, and I think we have a great chance to win it. And I also, like I said last year, we don't have the best team, and we need to get lucky. We need to get a couple breaks, and then maybe we do have a chance. And I've been on both sides of that. I know when we have the best team, and we have a better than average chance of winning it. And going into this season with everybody that we have back, and hopefully we stay healthy. I wouldn't trade my team for anybody else's. Let's put it that way. I don't know though that the expectations are any different from everyone else. Our expectations are to be in the Final Four. What happens after that, you can't predict, but I like our chances, absolutely.
What was your gut reaction when you heard last Easter Sunday night that Louisville had knocked off Baylor, which again was a team that I know you hoped that you would bump into in the Final Four?
Well, when I when I watched parts of the game, when I saw the game, it just looked like they were going to win the whole game. I mean, it never looked like Baylor was going to win the game. You know, sometimes teams come out of nowhere and they win, you know, at the end in heartbreaking fashion or something like that for the other team, for the favorite. But it looked like from the opening tap that Louisville was going to win because they were better prepared, they played harder, they executed better when they had to. They did everything that a team is supposed to do to get to the Final Four. So it was never, man, I can't believe how lucky they got, or I can't believe how bad Baylor played. It was just, you know, Louisville playing the perfect game that they had to play in order to beat a team like that. And they did. And that's what the NCAA tournament's all about, though. That's why, you know, you can't say, well, you're guaranteed to win it, or, you know, you are ordained to win it because you have everybody back. Baylor had everybody back last year, and they didn't win it. So they didn't win it because they got beat. I don't think they lost. I think they just got flat out beat.
When you sit down to prepare to play against a Baylor team that, as Geno said, was loaded, I mean, they were a lot more than just Brittany Griner, but in Brittany Griner they had this force in the middle that I don't think the women's college basketball game has ever seen before. When you drew up your game plan, did you really think you could knock them off? I mean, what was your mentality about what do we have to do to make this close so that maybe we can steal it at the end?
Well, when we went into the game, I mean, of course, you're going into every game with a plan. And, you know, I've watched enough film of teams that try to throw the ball in the post, and they try to make a post move on Brittany, and she blocks it. I mean, she's an all-time leading shot blocker. So when we had our 4 or 5 days to prepare, all we talked about was we're shooting threes. We're going to drive and kick, and we knew we were going to have to make a lot. And it was just a situation where, you know, and we've all been in those games where 2 or 3 players start to make shots, and then all of a sudden everybody thinks they're three-point shooters. You know, I've got Sarah Hammond hitting a step-back 3 in the corner over Brittany, and it looked like that's something she'd practiced. So, you know, when players start to believe in what you're doing, they start believing in themselves. We did feel, you know, like, hey, we can win this game. And then when you come out and you start executing it, as Geno said, I mean, we felt that we were in complete control. And then towards the end there, it was slipping away. But, you know, we have a fifth-year senior step up and make two free throws. And it was a situation where if we had lost, I would have thought it was an upset that night because we got beat, because we had controlled that entire game.
Brianna Stewart was named today the American Athletic Conference Preseason Player of the Year. She was widely considered the best player in high school coming out of her senior year. And you and I chatted last year, and I know it's your feeling that it's more difficult for big kids to make the transition immediately to college basketball than it is perimeter players. And it took a while, but you know, once she got to the NCAA tournament, she just broke out and blossomed into everything that I'm sure you and everyone who had seen her before thought she would be. Just how good is she, and do you think she's the best player in the country going into this year?
It's always hard to say how kids are going to develop, you know. Somebody comes out of high school and they're a really good player. Sometimes it's easy, like a guard, like Shoni Schimmel. She comes out of high school, she goes to Louisville, she shoots it every time she touches it. You know, so if you're on her team and you're a big guy, you're depending on her passing it to you. And guards, it's easy for guards. They come out of high school, they dribble the ball up the floor, and if they feel like shooting it, they shoot it. If they feel like passing it, they pass it. So you can have a great freshman year, great sophomore year when you're a guard because you control the ball. You get to do whatever you want. And then as you get older as a guard, I think you start to understand that what makes you a great guard, like what Shoni's done, is you start passing the ball to people and you make them better. And because you make them better, you and your team get better. Well, big kids don't have that luxury. When big kids come to college, they're dependent on people giving them the ball, and they're also getting their ass beat by other big kids, which will be the first time that's ever happened. So for big kids to come to college and really play well early in their career, is really, really, really hard. And it takes all of them a long time, you know, and for Brianna Stewart, not only is she, 6'3" or whatever, she's also very thin, and she got beat up a lot. Now, the Final Four ends and she wins the national championship as an MVP. Where can she go from there? If she does the same exact thing she did last year, is that going to be good enough? I don't know. Is she the best player in the country? I bet you if you polled the other 365, whatever, Division I schools, and no disrespect to any other player, and you asked any coach there, if there's one player they could take in America right now, who would it be? I think she would be on most everybody's list.
Last question. Of course, as you know from firsthand experience, there's tremendous interest in women's basketball in the state of Connecticut. But you're from a state and that it's hard to describe how important basketball is in the state of Kentucky. There are certain states, Connecticut, Indiana, North Carolina being a few, where it's really important, but it's really important in Kentucky. It's part of the culture, and you know that better than anyone because you're from Kentucky, and then you coached elsewhere, and then you came back and you're now the head coach at Louisville. Can you talk a little bit about the culture and how basketball is just such a huge part of living in your state?
Well, it is. I mean, and we're fortunate to not have any pro sports teams. So basketball is our version of a professional sports team, both, at Louisville and at UK. For both our women's programs, we average close to 10,000 a night. I think they draw between 6,000 and 7,000 a night. So, I mean, it speaks volumes for the passion that there is for women's basketball in our state. We have to continue, as I tell our players every night, we have to continue to do our job and put a product on the floor that the fans want to come watch. Because you can win games, but if you're winning them 47 to 45, it's hard to bring people and have them want to continue to come out. So, we're trying to play an entertaining style of basketball at the same time, making sure we win basketball games. And I think it's shown. I mean, what UConn's done up here with the way Geno's developed his program over the years. Every night when you come to a game, it's entertaining. His kids play hard. They're well prepared, and that's why their fans continue to come back. I mean, I look at our media day here, and when Bria Hartley is a preseason honorable mention all conference, I just wonder what everybody looks at, unless there's a rule that you can't have all 5 of them on all conference team. I mean, it's just amazing to me that a kid like that is just honorable mention. In any other league, and in our league, she should be preseason all conference. But it just shows you if you continue to put a good product on the floor, people will come out and watch.
Well, guys, thanks very much for joining. And if he shows up at your restaurant, how about picking up the check?
One app for free. That's it.
We're joined by a pair of UConn seniors, Bria Hartley to my left and Stefanie Dolson to my right. And Bria, let me start with you. When do you think Stefanie is going to come out of her shell and stop being such a shy and reserved personality?
I've been wondering that for a really long time now. She's just so shy, but she's working on it definitely.
And how's your ankle? I know last year you hurt your ankle in the summer prior to preseason, and it really bothered you on and off all season. How is it now?
It's doing better. I tweaked it a little bit, but it wasn't anything to be alarmed about. It was just kind of get off of it for a little bit and come back and play again. So I'm back playing, so it's fine right now, and it feels 100%.
Now, Stefanie, I know you just recently returned from the being at a camp with the U.S. National team and playing with some of the great players really in the world. What was that experience like?
Amazing. We had the opportunity to play with people who played at UConn before and other schools, and they've been in the league for a few years, so it was a cool experience to kind of see their maturity level and how hard they work and how they never quit, and definitely an experience that I'll never forget.
Now, your teammate Brianna Stewart was named today the American Athletic Conference Preseason Player of the Year. Talk a little bit about how her game came along last year and really blossomed so that the whole world saw in March and April what a great player she is.
Yeah, I think she came into the last year, with a lot of expectations, as a freshman, and it was tough for her, and I think a lot of freshmen go through that kind of slump, but she did an amazing job of getting out of it and just proving to everyone what type of player she is, the way she played in the postseason and the tournament. And, it was a cool experience to kind of see her develop and see how, she blossomed into the player she is now. And just to be able to see how much more she can improve in the next few years.
Now, Bria, when you come to UConn, you quickly learn all about high expectations, and UConn almost every year is considered the team to beat in the country. I don't think they were the last couple of years, largely because of Brittany Griner, and yet you won it all last year. But this year the target is squarely on your back because you're loaded with almost the entire team coming back. Do you embrace those high expectations?
Yeah, I think we do. I think coming to Connecticut, I mean, it was a little bit like that my freshman year when Maya was still here.
Mm-hmm.
So me and Stefanie have a little bit of experience with that. So I think we're really excited to go out there. Now we're the seniors. We kind of have a better understanding than when we were freshmen. And I think with the talent we have, we're going to go out there. We're going to be a really confident team, and we have the expectation that we're going to win.
Another one of your teammates who was named preseason all-conference today, as was Stefanie, and you were preseason honorable mention all-conference, is Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis, and she can just flat out shoot the ball. But last year she also added to her game. She got to the foul line a lot more. She's very, very strong for someone her size. Talk about the growth of her game and what it's like to play on the team with her.
She's grown tremendously. Even playing with her this summer, I've seen how she's improved, and she's working to improve on more things. Everyone knows her as a three-point shooter, but like you said, last year she improved in doing other things, and I think this year she improved even more. And that was one of her main focus. She wants to be able to do other things to help her team rather than just making shots all the time, which is a good thing and not a bad thing to do, but she wants to be a complete player.
And lastly, Stefanie, I know when you go to UConn, it's not for everybody because the expectations are so high, not only from the fans and from the media, but also from the coaching staff. You play for a very demanding coach. You find yourself in a lot of games where you're much better than the opponent, and you find yourself up by a lot of points, but he never coaches according to the scoreboard. You screw up, and you're going to hear about it. Has the UConn experience been everything that you had hoped and dreamt it would be?
For sure. I think coming into it, I wasn't sure what to expect. I knew it would be hard. I knew, I would have to push myself. But coming into it, the coaches do such a good job of kind of knowing how to push you and, knowing how hard to push you. And that's something that I've, matured on the court about, is just being able to push myself and getting past, being tired, not making a shot. And I've just matured a lot and learned a lot about myself throughout these past 4 years, or 3 years. Sorry.
Stefanie, Bria, thanks so much for joining us, and hope you have a great senior year.